America. We were living in the east by the Nile River, living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes and slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So my friend, it's easy to tell, white man heaven is a black man hell.
It's easy to tell, white man heaven is a black man hell.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Master Farad Muhammad said 6 words to us, and these were the 6 most powerful words that he spoke. He said, accept your own and be yourself. Accept your own. The Caucasians who brought our fathers into slavery desired to take us away from our own people, our own culture, our own religion, our own God, our own language. So we have grown up in America away from our own mind, away from our own selves, and so we have been actually indoctrinated with an alien mentality.
10,000 fearless men. Because we're going to have to challenge the things that are destroying our community. So this ain't no punk time. This ain't no temple time, mosque time, or church time. All the singing and shouting and preaching is over. Get in them streets now. Block by block. We're going to have to clean it up. The airwaves is not enough. The television screen is not enough. You got to put boots on the ground who are trained and are willing to make the sacrifice of life itself to see our community made a decent place to live.
Attention. Drill.
Soldiering is a part of the Nation of Islam, and it readies all of us to obey the commands of God. Now some will ask, well, why military drill? Because this is what produces the camaraderie.
Facebook and Instagram thought that they could ban the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
But in reality, they can't, because he already lives in us and millions of others.
قل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
In the name of Allah, Master Fard Muhammad, the one true and living God, to whom praise is due forever, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger. Peace, family, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of WHID-FM. WHID-FM is your personal platform where those of us striving to follow the life-giving, life-saving teachings of the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as given to us by his premier pupil, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, gathered right here in this virtual meeting place to answer that most critical question: what has Islam done for me? It's Sunday, September 28th, and at this time, we're going to turn it over to that dynamic co-host of WHID-FM, our sister, Janine Muhammad, who is a superstar student here in the ministry at Muhammad Mosque number 6, under the leadership of our beloved brother, student Imam Abdul Salam Muhammad. Sister Janine.
Assalamu alaikum, family, and thank you again for joining us for another Sunday of WHID-FM. We thank you for tuning in each and every week as we hear the stories from our various guests about what Islam has done and continuing to do for them. I'm going to introduce our guests for tonight, who is Sister Soaphis and Brother Muhammad Hamidullah. Sister Soaphis is a registered nurse, respiratory therapist, student lieutenant, and a servant in the Nation of Islam. She was born in Brooklyn, New York, to Sister Anna Mae 7X, later named Sister Hannah Shabazz, and Brother James 45X, later Brother Amin Hassan Shabazz. They were devoted members of the MGT and FOI at Muhammad Mosque number 7C. In 1972, her family relocated to Richmond, Virginia, where they became active members of Muhammad Mosque number 24. At just 7 years old, she began her lifelong journey of faith, service, and excellence. After graduating high school in 1983, Sister Soaphis pursued a career in healthcare and earned her credentials as a registered respiratory therapist and serving in the field for 20 years. In 2003, she was driven by a deeper desire and a calling to serve. She entered nursing school and began to be a registered nurse in 2006. She is a proud wife, mother of 3 sons, ages 36, 33, and 26, and a grandmother to 5 beautiful children, ages 3, 10, 14, 16, and 18. In 2019, she rededicated herself to the cause of Islam and continues to serve under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. She remains an active member of Muhammad Mosque number 24 in Richmond, Virginia, where she serves on the Ministry of Health and holds her esteemed position of student lieutenant. Her life is a testament to faith, family, and service, uplifting her community through both healing and hands of spiritual guidance. I'm also going to introduce her husband, Brother Muhammad, who was born in Henderson, North Carolina. He was introduced to Islam through the Nation of Islam at a very early age by his grandmother, a strong and devoted woman who raised 7 boys. With Muhammad being the youngest, although his mother was present in his life, he never had a relationship with his father, a void that has shaped much of his early experience. His educational journey was unconventional. He left school in the 6th grade but made a life-changing decision to return to education in 2010. Through determination and faith, he earned his high school diploma and went on to achieve a master's degree in psychology and addiction studies. Today, he is a certified substance abuse counselor and a national certified addiction counselor. His passion lies in helping those who struggle with addiction and homelessness, offering not just clinical support, but spiritual and emotional guidance rooted in the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his chief helper, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Brother Muhammad's approach to counseling is holistic and deeply empathetic. He believes in the transformative power of truth, and we'd like to welcome him on the show tonight. Power of truth, discipline, and love. So we'd like to welcome you both on the show tonight. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
So I'm going to get us started on our first set of questions tonight. When we talk to our guests, we kind of just like to dive in deep on what made you join the Nation of Islam, because so many people come and hear the teachings, but many may not join. So for you, I want to know, what was your deciding factor? Was it a lecture? Was it an encounter that you had? What made you say, I want to be a part of the Nation of Islam and I want to stay? We can start with Brother Muhammad first and then Sister Soaphis.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
In the
salam.
name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is His exalted Christ. That's a good question. Let me see, how can I start this here? At an early age, my grandmother, she was the one who introduced me to Islam. Because I can remember many, many years ago, we used to have the brothers come to our house, and my grandma used to sit on the front porch, and they used to come with the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, and they all would be sitting down and talking. And I never knew who they were. Only thing I know that they looked exceptionally well and good. You know, black suit, red bow tie, shining like a angel. After that, you know, they came to my house one night, and I cannot remember whether or not it was on a Monday or Wednesday, but my grandmother sent me with them, you know, and that was at Muhammad Tumpa at that time, 2616 North Avenue. And, you know, that's it. That's how I became acquainted with the Nation of Islam. But, you know, over the years, in my process of development and struggle, you know, I deviated, you know, as a young man, I deviated and acted out than myself. But, you know, it wasn't really until 1977, either 78, when I heard the minister, that I decided that I want to recommit to the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And Sister Soaphis, what about yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum, family. Yes, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is His exalted Christ, and that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their divine servant and Jesus in our midst. Well, as I said in my bio, I was born in a nation. My parents were very active MGT and FOI in the mosque. So I had that foundation growing up. And of course, you know, you deviate, as I did. I deviated from the teachings and the path in my late 20s. And then I was out in the wilderness for a long time, and I decided to rededicate myself in my 50s in 2019. And, you know, it was a lot of things going on with me in 2017, 2018. And I knew that I needed to make a change in my life. I knew actually in 2019 that I was going to be a different person in 2018, I knew that I was going to be a different person in 2019. I communicated that to my friends. They didn't believe me. And I just didn't know, you know, what the transformation was going to be. And I was having a lot of health challenges in 2018. And I worked from home during that time. And during that time, I just kind of had a self-talk with myself. I looked in the mirror at myself, and I saw a person that I did not recognize, and I saw a person that I did not like. And I had a long, long talk outside, out loud to myself. And, you know, just asking myself some questions and looking at myself and not liking what I saw. And I decided then that I needed to change, and that I had been acting other than myself, and that this was why I was in the predicament that I was in, and that my parents would not be proud if they saw me like I was. And I decided that I needed to accept my own and be myself. And at that time, that's when I decided, it was in 2018 in October, that I was going to start going back to the mosque, and that I was going to actually join the nation in 2019. And so that's what it was for me. I was going through something, and I just didn't like what I saw.
Man, absolutely.
Good.
So you both actually led me into my next question. So we know we're a people where we've all sinned, but a lot of times our past can stop us from looking forward. So how have you managed to maintain staying in the Islam, still striving, but not letting your past affect your future? Sister Soaphis, we can start with you first this time, and then Brother Muhammad.
Okay. So, one of the things the person that I was is not the person that I am now. When I was growing up, as far as growing up from a child into an adult, that was another transformation. And so I don't ever want to be that person that I was when I was out in the world. I was not, I was other than myself. I was other than myself. And I don't ever want to be that person again. And, these teachings really saved my life. And so I look at the past as a learning experience because it did shape me. I have to thank Allah for it, because if it wasn't for him, I would not be here today. And he took me through those things and those changes to help me to be who I am today. And so I look at those things in the past and I take lessons from those things, and I see how I have grown just from being in the nation now from where I was.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. What about you, Brother Muhammad?
Wow, that's a good question. Let me say this here. I came from a dysfunctional family, and we were not close knitted, right? And because of that, and not having a strong male figure in the household, we gentlemen that took advantage of my grandmother. We wanted to do what we wanted to do, right? And undisciplined, and that led me to the streets. And practically, that's where I grew up in the streets. I got into a lot of trouble. I was suffering from identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. But I heard of the teachings through my grandmother of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? But still, it was something in me that, hey, you know what? Before I do anything, I need to try this here. I need to try sticking up. I need to try robbing somebody. I wanted to do a lot of things because I was lost, right? And I was just reading in the study guide, The Will of God, Part 2, on page 106, section 57. It said, you don't submit to Allah without a trial. You don't submit to Allah, God, without tribulation, right? And I didn't submit to Allah. I did not submit to Allah because I want to fix, manage, and control some stuff. I want to be my own man. I want to do what I want to do, and I forsake everything. And Allah tell us in the Holy Quran that, do you like a thing which is bad for you and hate a thing which is good for you? Right? So in so many ways, you can say that I was practicing hypocrisy. But for the grace of God, but for his grace and mercy only, I was able to make that journey back to the mosque. Now, keep in mind that I left the mosque twice. I left the mosque twice, and each time I left the mosque, I didn't blame the mosque. I didn't blame nobody. I blame my own shortcomings and character defects and my wants and desire and my selfish desire and lower nature. That's what I blame. The teaching was there for me. I could either accept it or let it alone. And at that time, I thought I was doing the right thing by being away from home. That's all I'm saying.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you for that testimony for both of you. I know our audience can definitely relate to that. And my next question before I turn it over to Brother West. So I want to know, as far as your careers, like Brother Muhammad, your career is in psychology and education, and Sister Soaphis, yours is in healthcare. How does Islam contribute to how you practice in both of your careers? Has it helped at all? And if so, how? And either one of you can start first.
Okay, so
I like this stuff.
okay, so I think that Islam plays a big part in it, especially now that that I'm an MGT and a registered nurse. Before, when I was a respiratory therapist, that was a long time ago. I wasn't in the teachings. I still had that background, and I hadn't strayed away as far as I had deviated yet. But, I always felt that I had to have a certain amount of patience. I had to, understand us as a people, and I had to understand who, the Caucasian was and who I was dealing with, as far as co-workers and working in certain positions in certain hospitals and certain settings. And so that's where Islam played a part for me then in my earlier years. But since becoming a devoted Muslim and becoming an MGT, it has really given me patience with our people, especially in the field that I'm working in now. I'm working in substance use as well in a residential center. And so, I have to understand that our people are not themselves in this state that they're in. And so when they do act out and maybe lash out at me, in the past, I may have taken it personally, but now I don't take that personally because I know that's not directed at me. It's the state in which they're in, and it's the self-hatred that they feel for themselves. And so they lash out at other people. It doesn't have anything to do with me. And so being an MGT in Islam, that has really helped me as a nurse and working.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's sort of similar because of my lived experience with drug addiction. I used drugs, for the past 20-some years and stuff. And I went into treatment. And once I got into treatment, it was just like a stabilized unit. It stabilized me, so I had a chance to get myself together through thinking and put everything in perspective. Because after 30 days, there's no more drugs in my system. Mm-hmm. So then I found out that it wasn't the drugs per se that caused me to act other than myself. It was my behavior, right? So I had to modify my behavior, but first I had to start with my thinking process, right? And what happened is that I dropped out of school in the 6th grade, and that's a long time. And I went back I went back to school in 2010. And I know that with the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, as been taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, right, I had to reach my people. And we have people who are on the streets, who are homeless, or who have mental illnesses, who have substance use disorder. Right? So what way can I serve the people better with the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and speak their language? And someone, they say, hey, Mr. Muhammad, he been there before. He been through the trenches. He know what it's like. So he understand, he have a comprehensive knowledge of what's going on. Mm-hmm. Right? So I use the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad to reach the people. Now, mind you, even though they may not come to the mosque per se,
Mm-hmm.
They may not come to the mosque per se, but when I see them 6 months down the road, they said, Mr. Muhammad, thank you, man. I no longer use drugs. I no longer homeless, man. I got a job. I got a wife, man. See, those are the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, because I couldn't do that by myself. I applied the teachers. So I apply the teacher every day by helping people, who are less fortunate. This is what I do. I enjoy what I do. And sometimes I think that's one of my missions, is to help these people, our people. And I can't be selfish. I cannot be selfish where I look like, been out in the streets, been homeless, okay, been in penitentiary. And I got a life-giving teacher of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I don't give it back. Yeah, so these teachings, I don't mean to get excited, but these teachings, if we don't use these teachings to help our people, to help resurrect our people, then why we got them?
Right.
They ain't just to look at. The lesson, I remember back in the day, Jesus said, I want for my brother what I want for myself. Freedom, justice, and equality. I want my brother to be free from addiction. I want him to have the same equality that I have. That's all I'm going to do.
That's praise be to Allah. I appreciate the transparency. It's such a beautiful conversation. I had one more question before I turn it over to Brother West. So a lot of, not just Black people, but a lot of people in general believe we know the definition of love. So how did you understand the definition of love before Islam? And now in Islam, how do you understand love now? And either one of you can answer first.
Go ahead. You go first. No, you go.
Okay. Actually, dear sister, I never knew the definition of love before I came into the teaching of Islam and stuff. Because again, I was raised single parent. My mother, she, we was in a foster home, and actually with 7 boys, and so it was in a foster home in in Washington D.C. And so when she came from Richmond to to Washington to get us, that Peckerwood said that you can only have 4 boys. But my grandma said 7 of them. Right. So after all of that, she was only allowed to take 4 of us, and I'm the youngest. And in my household, where we was living at in Churchill, I never heard the word love in the house. I never understood. In fact, I never know the word exists. Because I never heard the word love. And so, and through all my trials and tribulations, and I think that what also played a part in my progress. Not knowing what love is, and looking for love, how I said, in all the wrong places. Right. But it wasn't until I came into the teaching and calmed my spirit down, put my emotions in shape, that I really began to understand what love is all about. Now, I'm not saying that my grandma didn't love us, because she did love us. And she showed that by sending me to the Nation of Islam. She showed that by making sure that we had food in the house. She showed love by making sure that we had clothes on our back, and that she made sure the light stayed on. She showed love to her, but I didn't see that. That's it.
Okay. Wow, that's a big question. Kind of complex for me. My parents, I know, love me. Um, I know that because of the way they treated me. And, I had good parents. They were sometimes overprotective, a little overbearing. But, I still love my parents and they loved me. And I understand now why they were so protective and why what felt like being overbearing really wasn't. I understand that now. I had this, I don't know, I guess as I grew up and grew into an adult and, started living life as an adult, I think I had a fantasy idea of what love is, or what love was, what I thought it was. And so that never really worked out for me. That just got me in a whole bunch of trouble and hemmed up in a lot of different situations. I just did not understand what real love was really what it was. And it really wasn't until listening to the minister, just listening to his lectures when I came back into the nation, listening to his lectures about love and duty. And how in this world that word love is just thrown around so loosely. Oh, I love you, and you don't even know the person. And I remember when I would say that to my mother about someone, she's like, "Hey, what do you mean?" My father would grill me on that question. What? I don't understand. How is that even so? And I couldn't understand at that time, why I felt like they were tripping. So, but I understand now. And, the minister is the one who taught me what that is. Sacrifice, sacrifice, giving of yourself. I mean, sacrifice, giving of yourself till it hurts. And that's love. That's what the minister has done. He is the demonstration. He is the example of what true love is. The sacrifice and the giving of himself and his family all these years. And so, he has taught us that love is duty. Right. And it's duty and it's sacrifice is what you do. And it's how that duty and what you do, how that comes across. It's unselfish. It's giving. It's not lust. Right. We don't know. A lot of us don't know what love is. We just throw that word around because we think it feel good. Right. Love is not a feeling. It's a duty. It's a sacrifice. And so that's what I have learned the difference over the years. And I didn't learn that difference until the teachings came back to me. I came back to the teachings. Right.
Yes, ma'am. Praise for Lord. Thank you. Praise the Lord. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over. Before we go to Brother West, I'm going to turn it over to Sister Latifa, who has some questions she want to ask to you, and then we will go to Brother West. So, Sister Latifa, I will turn it over to you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Sister Janine. I love seeing this couple right here. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah who came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. And we are grateful for his intervention in our affairs. There are a lot of questions I could just ask you, or I could sit at your feet and listen to you talk. And you're two of my favorite people. I'm going to start, though, with Sister Soaphis, because you shared something one time with me about Muhammad University of Islam. So we know that Muhammad University of Islam is the answer for everything that's happening today with destroyed education. In the bio, you talked about being reared in the nation. And I know you attended Muhammad University of Islam. Could you share that experience and then what it was like to not have Muhammad University of Islam in your life after the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for that question. I remember going to school in in New York. It was at the school we were at, Mosque number 7C, which was in Brooklyn, but the school was in Harlem. I cannot remember the street in Harlem, but I went to Muhammad University of Islam that was located in Harlem. And I remember bits and pieces of it. I remember being in the classroom. I remember the hallway. I remember being in that setting. It was discipline. It was love. We were taught. It was an environment of peace. I remember drilling when I was little. My mother back then, she was a nurse in the school when we were in New York. And my father was part of security. And I always just, it was just so much. It was just so busy. Every Saturday, I remember my mother, we would go to MGT class, and, there was always something we were doing. She was doing with the sisters and things afterwards and stuff. So I just remember that. And I remember going to school and being with the sisters in school. And I like I said, I can't remember everything. I don't remember my instructor's name from Mosque number 7. I remember when we moved to Richmond, Virginia in 1972. And we transferred to Mosque number 24, and I went to school there at Muhammad University of Islam in Richmond, Virginia. And that was, again, very structured. I was older, very structured, being in a disciplined environment. Actually, my mother, when we moved down here, she was the dean of girls at Muhammad Mosque number 24 at that time. And so, very disciplined environment, very structured. You learned, and I enjoyed learning. I was ahead of my class when I was ahead of the class once I was put into public school, because once the nation went through the transition that it did, I no longer went to Muhammad University of Islam. My mother put me in public school, and there was a big difference in that. I did not like it. I wasn't used to being in such a wild environment, because that's the way it was. It was wild to me after being around such civilized individuals, and then being placed in a classroom that was co-ed, boys and girls. I wasn't used to that. And I wasn't used to the behavior that I saw. I was shocked. And I just thought that I remember one time I said, oh my God, these people are animals. That's what I said to myself. And because I just couldn't believe how children, we were all the same age. And I had just never seen the type of behavior that I had seen before. Was a culture shock. Mm-hmm. And I never quite fit in, going to school once I was out of Muhammad University, all through high school, all through middle school, all through high school. I never quite fit in with anybody. I kind of was by myself. I did have a few friends that were quiet like me, and reserved and not into a lot of things. There was a lot of people who were in the spotlight and the popular people, and I was never that. So it was just different for me when I transitioned from Muhammad University of Islam. I didn't like being in public school. It was just a culture shock. It was a culture shock.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you. Go ahead. Oh, okay, I thought you were going to add more to it.
I was going to say too, because it was a lot of, one of the culture shocks for me was the disrespect. A lot of the disrespect that I saw that would go on towards not just to the girls, but to the teachers. So that was very shocking to me, how they would talk to the teachers, how the boys, they just couldn't keep their hands to themselves. I experienced that, and I didn't tolerate it. So it was just a lot. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. Because we need testimonies about Muhammad University of Islam and its value as we
Yes.
continue to rebuild in the nation. And Brother Muhammad, I'm inspired by you with the Al Nur Fajr prayer line. And that has become a staple for many of the believers in the early morning. Could you tell how you were inspired and shared that? What came to you to, even suggest that and then to eventually implement it to show that, what an idea can start from and then what it can manifest to that serves the believers.
Wow. The Al Nur Fajr prayer line. Oh, praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. We started the prayer line back in 2023.
Yeah, 23.
23, right? And what happened is that, as a lieutenant, serving the post as a lieutenant, one of my jobs as a lieutenant is to teach and train the men, and I got to thinking that I want all of us, to come together. I want to build a strong unit with the brothers, right? And the best way to do that is through prayer. Mm-hmm. It's through prayer. They say that a family that pray together, stay together, right? So then I said, well, how can I do this here? So that's when the prayer line came up. That's where maybe we could start for our squad, the Al Nur squad. I said we got to come up with the Al Nur Fajr prayer line. And so the brothers and I, we kicked it around and stuff, and a lot of ideas came up. So one of the ideas came up and said, well, but Brother Muhammad, if we start the prayer line, who gonna call the dawn? And how we gonna do this and how we gonna do that? And so I said, and I told them, I said, we're gonna work it out. And that's what we did. We worked it out. The first 2 or 3 weeks that we had the prayer line up and running, it wasn't maybe about 1 or 2 participants each day, and I started getting frustrated. Right, but I remember what the Holy Quran said: "Be not dismayed." Be not dismayed, for Allah had not forsaken you, nor is He displeased with you. Because I'm doing something to bring the brothers together in the morning, so that we could pray together. And as time went on, my wife, she said, well, Muhammad, well, can the sister come on? And I said, well, let me see, right? And so I got with the squad and I told them about it. They were thrilled about it. They said, yeah, let the sister come on too. And so my wife, she came on. Our sister Captain came on. Man, and the rest is history.
Oh,
And I look at the Father Prayer Line today as a beautiful place to come and listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We have guest speakers, every Tuesday. On the prayer line start from 5 o'clock to 5:45, and then on Sundays we listen to the series.
How to give birth to a God.
The series that we're on now, How to Give Birth to a God, Part 4. We just completed the series, The Time What Must Be Done, and on Monday mornings we listen to the lecture from Chicago. And not only that, but it's therapeutic for the audience when they come on, because we don't know what a person, a believer, is going through. We don't know. And when they come on to the project prayer line, they say, oh, I need to hear that. This helped me today. And it starts with, what better way to start your day is making the Father's prayer early in the morning. So I look at it as therapeutic.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And like I said, I can see it in the faces of many people when they talk about it. And it is a blessing. You were saying, Al knew it, as far as the prayer line in your cup in the morning. So I think it's almost time for Brother West. But my final question to you both, seeing you together and listening to the bios and knowing both of you as officers in the mosque, both of you serve as lieutenants in the mosque, both of you share the healthcare industry as professions. How do you balance this in your marriage? And especially because I hear you both reference the Quran a lot. How do you keep the Quran as a staple, as a balance for your marriage so that your marriage stays healthy and strong with all the work that you do?
We laugh and joke a lot.
Praise be to Allah.
We laugh and joke a lot, and we learn to really learn to how to respect and appreciate one another, right? And when we have problems or situations that may perhaps bother us, right? We have to sit and talk about it. Now I'm gonna be honest now. Now, sometimes, I might not be the good guy. I might not be the good guy, and this is why I believe that God blessed me with this beautiful woman right here to help balance me out, right? Because she's so calm and soothing, and she don't feed into anything. Right, she just look at me and say, "Yeah, okay." Right, so how this balances us off is that my wife, she does a lot of studying, right, and I have to do a lot of studying too. And a lot of time I study while I'm in my office, because the book by Brother Dimitri Muhammad, when you go on through trouble, nurse through the Holy Quran. Mm-hmm. That's the name of the book, right? But that's the book that I'll be studying because we go through some trials and tribulations. But what we understand is that whatever trials and tribulations that we go through, we cannot let it, take us off course. We cannot let it interfere with our marriage, no matter what. We just cannot do that because we made a bond, a commitment, not just to each other, but we made a commitment to Almighty God, Allah. This is what we're going to do. And because we are both in the health field, and sometimes it's stressful, I deal with a lot of people who have mental issues and who are on substance use. Right? And it can be real stressful. And I know it's stressful for you. Right? But we have to balance it all. And we do it, we in the Holy Quran. We go out when we can. We sit down, we play, we talk, right? And sometimes just be still, don't say nothing.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Anything to add, Sister Soaphis?
Brother Muhammad said it all. We have to have patience with each other, and know that you can't take things personally either. Even in your marriage, you can't take each other for granted, and you cannot take things personally either. Sometimes when things are said, sometimes it's just something having a bad day. And so you have to learn how to let things roll off. And so not get in your head and not have a big ego about things. And that's for women and men, not having an ego about certain situations and just be humble.
And a lot of times also is that we have to listen. Mm-hmm. And then when we talk to one another, we don't talk at one another, we talk to one another. Right. And then sometimes, we just listen to each other. Just listen.
Praise be to Allah. Well, I'm honored to have had this opportunity to talk to you all tonight, and I'm going to turn it back to Brother West. May Allah bless you both. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Praise be to Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Assalamu alaikum, family. Praise be to Allah. It's great to speak to you all. Absolutely. So my first question is for you, Brother Muhammad.
Yes,
so I know that your bio mentioned how you never really had much of a relationship with your father, and that created a void that shaped much of your early life experience. So I wanted to know if you can speak on how the brotherhood amongst the FOI creates just that loving environment for brothers that come from both parent household, or even for brothers that once walked in your shoes as well.
Well, from experience, from experience, especially for the black man, like you said, that when we come from a dysfunctional family, when we feel like rejected and not loved, man, we turn to the brotherhood. And when we turn to the brotherhood, and here's the thing, we turn to the brotherhood and we lean on our brother, right? But we have to be honest about what's going on with self, man. See, if I'm not honest from the very start, then the brotherhood can't happen. Right? If I don't trust the brotherhood, man, who am I going to trust? See, my brothers, my blood brothers, be not close. I have a brother right now who live in Victoria, Virginia, won't even answer my telephone call. Won't respond to none of my texts. But guess what, though? I call the brothers here in the nation. They respond to my text. They answer my telephone call. They listen to me. And I to them. See, so Allah, that's how merciful the God is, man. The God said, don't worry about that. I got you. I got you. But the only thing that I have to do is be right. Be honest. Continue to be an FOI in good standing of the Nation of Islam. No matter what. Because as long as I'm in good standing in the Nation of Islam, man, I got hundreds of thousands of brothers, man. That's right. Who've been through the same thing I've been through. So now we got a strong conversation going on. Now we can relate to one another. We can understand one another without all being judgmental. Then I found love in the brotherhood, man. The love I found in the brotherhood, I did not find in my own household, man. Growing up, I didn't find that. I found in the brotherhood. All praise due to Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All praise due to Allah who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad. All praise due to Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Praise be to Allah.
All praise is due to Allah. A lot of what you were saying. Definitely true. Absolutely. And my next question for you, dear sister, I wanted to know, I guess we can start off with you, but I see that you both have quite the large family of 3 sons, 5 grandchildren. All praises due to Allah. So how did you raise your children to embrace the teachings, whether they decided to register or not? And do you have any advice for other parents who may be striving to do the same with their children as well in the nation?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I have to say this is when my parents really had a big impact in my children's lives growing up. Because I had my sons, I had my first son at the age of 24, and I was married at the time, and but I didn't stay married to his father, and so then I had my second son, and then my third son. My third son wasn't until I was 35 years old, but my father and my mother had a big impact in their life, especially my father when it came to bringing the boys up in that Islamic environment. I did homeschool with my first two sons. I did homeschool with them. And because I felt like I wanted them to have that same kind of Islamic, a similar Islamic background to what I had growing up. I knew that was beneficial for me. And I knew that that seed needed to be planted because they would encounter, things that would help keep them on the track, even though you may stray away a little bit, but you always had like that little fishing line to bring you back in. You knew how far you knew how far to go. You wouldn't do but so much. And so my father had a great deal to do with my first two sons and their that seed being planted of Islam in them. We did homeschool. My father made sure they had the lessons. My first son even had some experience with MUI when he was 3 years old. He went to MUI here in Richmond, Virginia. And then my father had set up a school as well. So they attended that, my first two sons. And my third son, excuse me, my third son, because he was born later in my life and my parents were older, he didn't get the exact same installation of Islam as my first two sons. However, he did have, I was going to the church at that time. And so he had that spiritual foundation. So it wasn't like he had anything. And it still had some Islam in it too, because even though I went to church, I still knew that there was no mystery God. And so we never believed in that. I never taught them that. They always knew that Allah is God and that there was no other God but him. And so, and that Master Fard, that Allah is Master Fard Muhammad in person. So that was instilled in them. And that's how they had that background coming up. And that's how I was able to get that seed planted in them. And yes, they strayed. And yes, I do have a son that is in the nation at Mosque number 15, Brother King Cam. That's my son, Brother Zaki Shabazz from Muhammad Mosque 15. He is one of the student ministers there. And then I have my other two sons. They're not in the nation, but they know we're working on it. And they know who Allah is, and that Allah is God, and that besides him, there is no God but him. So they know that.
All praise is due to Allah. That's wonderful that they had that upbringing in the nation of Islam. And I see that our brother King Cam is in the comments as well. We think it's coming on. Definitely. And there he is. So before I go to my next questions, family, we just want to remind you that you are listening to WHID-FM. We thank you for tuning in and spending your valuable time, because without you, there is no WHID-FM. So if you have any suggestions that we may want to implement on our show, please email us at WHID1919@gmail.com. Also, if you are not already subscribed to WHID-FM on YouTube, we're going to ask you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and follow us on Facebook. Constant updates. You'll know when the show is live. All praises due to Allah. Next week, family, our guest will be Brother Dr. Jabril from Muhammad Mosque number 15, and Sister Louida, inshallah, will guest host. So make sure you tune in for that wonderful episode right back here on WHID-FM. Praise be to Allah. And my next question is for you again, sister. I wanted to know, what do you believe is meant by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad declaring that 75% of his work is with the woman? And honestly, Brother Muhammad, I feel like you could also comment on that, because it is something that's important as we navigate the teachings. We see a lot of where it comes up as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, what I believe is that when the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says that 75% of the work is with the woman, is that 75% of the work is with the woman because we we're the problem. We are the mothers of civilization, the Black woman, and we bring life into the world. The 75% represents 3/4. And so when you think of the earth is 3/4 water, and water is life. And the earth brings forth life. And so it's the same with the woman. The woman is 75% of the work because she brings forth the life and the civilization that's going to come. She brings in the future. So if she's not, he has to get us right. We have to change our thought, the way we think of ourselves, the way we think of our men, so that we can instill the proper things into our children, so they will come up with the proper foundation and background. So this is what we see a lot of in our community, is that our sisters, they don't know who they are. And so that is reflected in our community. And so that's why we as MGT are the Marys. We are the example. Mary of 2,000 years ago was a sign. And so the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was teaching us how to be Mary by teaching us culture and civilization, and teaching us how to rear our children, the 7 units that we have, how to keep house. This is all a part of civilization, having a civilization. It's building your home and teaching your children and knowing how to take care of your husband and knowing how to keep your environment clean. If your environment is not acceptable, then you become a product of your environment. If your environment is junky, you're going to be a junky person. So that's where that 75% comes from, I believe, is that because we, the women, are the problem. So we have to be the answer. We are the answer, we're the problem, and we are the answer. No civilization doesn't come about unless it comes through the woman. And so we have to clean ourselves up. We have to clean our minds up. We have to clean our bodies up so that we can bring in the civilization that Master Fard Muhammad, Allah, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, intended us to do. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, sister.
All praises due to Allah. That was a wonderful response.
That was good.
Muhammad, did you have anything you wanted to add?
You said it all. But I want to make sure that we understand that the man, we, the brothers, man, we have to get ourselves together as well. Because if we are not together spiritually, if we are not together morally and intellectually, then there's no way possible that our sister going to grow. So the Holy Quran said that we are the maintainer of the woman. So since we are the maintainer of the woman, I need to get myself in shape. How can I say I'm gonna have a wife and I'm not in shape? No, I need to be clear. I need to be clear mentally. I need to do the things that a man's supposed to do. Care for the woman, provide for the woman, protect her. That's my responsibility. Now, if I cannot own up to those responsibilities, then I need to go my own way. Because she can do bad by herself. But the woman, she needs her black man. But not just any black man. She needs a strong black man who can overcome all obstacles. She don't need a weak man. Because my wife just said that sometimes they are the problem. If they are the problem, why should I feed into the problem? I need to come in the problem with solutions. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. All praises due to Allah. And I wanted to rewind it a bit. I feel like we meant to ask this question. It's definitely a question we have to ask. I know that you all have been married for quite some time now. All praises be to Allah. I can already see there's a chemistry between you both that you only get from having such a strong bond over years of marriage. All praise be to Allah. So my question was how you both met, how the courtship process came about, and also what made you decide to pursue marriage.
You go ahead. You want me to go? You go.
Okay, so all right. So when I came into the nation, back into the nation in 2019, I wasn't thinking about getting married. That wasn't anything on my mind at all. And I was strictly about my studies. And it was 2000, I believe it was 2020, where we started our courtship. And it was brief initially because I had decided that I didn't, when Sister Captain called and she gave, asked me was I interested in marriage? I was like, no, I don't think so. No, not really. I don't know. And then I wanted to ask who was it. And then I was like, well, she can't tell me that. But I asked her anyway, and she was like, I can't tell you that. And so I was like, I don't know. So then I thought about it and I was like, okay, I guess. So we'll see. So I did say I was interested in marriage, and we started our courtship. It was real brief. I think it was 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then I broke it off. And, then so I guess it was, I don't know how long. It was like maybe 6 months or something like that. Later down.
You should let me tell you. You don't know what you're talking
Go
about.
ahead.
You should let me tell this story.
Well, you go ahead. You do it.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. I knew my wife's father and mother before I even met Sister Soaphis. And her father and I, we had a beautiful relationship. He used to come by my house. He invited me to his house. I met the mother and everybody. And so that was a start. I didn't see down the road then. So when I first seen my wife, she came to the mosque. And right there in my mind, I said, well, that's my wife right there. I didn't know who she was or whatever. That's my wife. And so every time she would come to the mosque, I would run off to mosque, open the door for her, get her bags and the stencil cords and bring the food inside the mosque and stuff like this. And then I said, man, and I remember distinctively that one day the regional minister came down to the mosque. So,
Sister Dr. Ava?
No, the regional minister.
Oh.
Minister Cadell.
Oh.
Yeah, he came to the mosque and he asked, how many of you are married? Right. And I said, well, now, that's my cue. That's my cue. And so I submitted my paperwork. I submitted my paperwork. I used to watch the sister, not stare at the sister, but I just knew within my heart that this one is going to be my wife. What else happened? So we got into courtship. And let me say this here. For those who are not married and who are thinking about getting married, when you go into courtship, man, we have to be honest. We have to be honest, and you have to disclose everything about you, because you want to know who you intend to marry. Right. And so we went through the courtship process, and then next thing I know, she said she don't want to get married. And I'm saying, well, what is this? And what she didn't know that, I came from the old school, right? And so we went before the minister, our local minister, Tracy Muhammad, and she explained why she didn't want to be married and why she brought the courtship off. And I told her, I said, well, since you brought the courtship off, I said, I will not call you or anything like that, right?
Right.
And I said that if you change your mind, I said, I'll be here waiting for you. You know, she liked that, Jay. You know what I mean? she liked that because she never heard that before, right? So, and I think it was during COVID.
Yes, sir.
It was during COVID. My student captain said, "Are you interested in getting married?" And I said, "Getting married? You know who?" So I'm trying to think. That's what I know it ain't Soaphis because she always rejected me. You know, so lo and behold, that's who it was. My beautiful wife right here.
Yeah.
And she told me, "Hey, Brother West." She told me. She said, "Well, I know you live in a house down there, and COVID is going on. I want to make sure that you eat good. You need somebody to take care of you." Yeah, so that's how we got started. So praise be to Allah.
Praise is due to Allah. That's amazing. Always like hearing stories like that. It's nothing like hearing a story about true love.
And so, and next month be 5 years.
Yes, sir.
Next month be 5 years.
Wow, that's amazing. 5 years.
Yes, praise be to Allah.
All praise is due to Allah. My next question before I turn it back over to Sister Janine to continue with her questions, I want to know if you both had to explain, if you had to summarize your journey through Islam in about 5 or so words, how would you summarize it? What 5 words would you use to describe your journey through Islam?
Well, my journey to Islam was rough, and I had to learn a lot of lessons, and I fell down and scraped myself up a lot of times along the way. But, you know, submission had a lot to do, submitting to Allah and His will. That had a lot to do with me.
Yes, sir.
I'm kind of on the same page with that because I had to really, really submit, you know, openly and honestly to God. And I had to allow God to operate, you know, in my life, you know. And that just like when I do an assessment on a client, you know, I have to pinpoint my client barriers. He might have legal problems, you know, homelessness, whatever problem that he have, we have to do some type of intervention so it would not, you know, interfere with his treatment. Right. But that's the same thing in Islam. You know, sometimes when we come to the mosque for the first time, we may have different barriers. You know, we have barriers, but we have to submit to Allah. We have to let Allah intervene in our file and eradicate all those barriers that keep us from submitting to Him. You know, jealousy, envy, you know, lack of family, drug addiction, all these other things, they are barriers that keep us from Allah. And so once we come into Islam, we come to our classes, and our classes are intervention. The study guide, the Friday night study group, Monday night FY class, Saturday MJT class, going on with the Fallon Call newspaper. Those are therapeutic values that help us maintain our strength, you know, and faith to Allah. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Praise be to Allah. Wa alaikum salam. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Sister Janine, to continue our questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother West. As we begin to wind down, I want to make sure we don't miss any audience questions or any questions that was asked. So it's a really good question that I want to ask you both, that was asked by Brother Jamal. He asks, what advice would you give to younger people who feel called to serve both their faith and their profession? And either one of you can answer, or both.
Okay.
Go.
Okay.
Take a lead.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
Go take a lead.
It is something that can be done. Excuse me. It is something that can be done. You know, you practice in your faith as well as your profession, and I allow Islam to come through me at work. I try to. I ask Allah to help me with that every day. Help me to be patient and to operate through love, and that, you know, the words that come out my mouth will be His. And so, because I always want to strive to give some type of encouragement to someone that may feel like they don't want to live anymore, or may feel that they're nothing. So, you know, whatever your profession is, you can utilize Islam in it in some way, because Islam is not a religion, it's a way of life. So you live that every day. And so in any profession that you have, Islam goes with you.
Also, we have to always keep in mind that, you know, God comes first.
Mm-hmm.
God comes first always, right? And once we understand that God comes first, even in your profession, then you know how to act. You know, see, you can be a Muslim and be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a Muslim and be anything that you want to be. Islam doesn't stop. And we have to recognize that it's just because you whatever profession that you're in, Islam is not secondary. Islam is primary.
Mm-hmm.
We have to put Islam first, because that's our salvation.
Right.
When all other things have failed, Islam is still standing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep Islam first.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And the next question, also by Brother Jamal, he asks, what moments stand out as turning points in your life's journey?
Turning points, you mean for being
in your life?
Okay.
In your Islamic life.
Okay. That turning point for me was when I saw myself in the mirror. That was a turning point for me. That was a big, the proverbial light coming on. And I actually saw myself, not just physically saw myself, but I also saw myself spiritually. And that was the turning point for me, because I was not acceptable in my own sight. And so I know that I wasn't acceptable in the sight of Allah. And so that was a turning point for me when I realized that I needed to accept my own and be myself again, because I was other than myself.
Yes, ma'am. But Muhammad, what about you?
My turning point came in my life back in 2016 when I came back into the Nation of Islam. And I made a commitment that I would never leave the nation again. That was my turning point.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to redirect my commitment, my obligations, and everything to the nation, because I had been unjust to myself when I left the nation. You know, I don't want to do that ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Ever again.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. I understand that. And one of my final question that I have for you both is, what lecture, whether it's by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is something that you listen to constantly, like that go-to message where you need a dose of that good minister energy? What lecture would you go to?
Wow.
Well, I know it's so many lectures that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has out there. If I feel like I need something, I'll type in, okay, what does Minister Farrakhan say about this? I'll put it in YouTube, or, you know, lecture by Minister Farrakhan on such and such and such. So, you know, it's not a go-to lecture, because any lecture that the minister has is a go-to for me.
Right.
You know, one of my favorite lectures, though, is the one. I love the lecture series, The Time and What Must Be Done, because the minister really breaks down everything. I mean, it's full open. I mean, if you thought anything, if you had any
I think they kind of froze. All right, family, we're going to give them like a minute to come back in. I know they were just getting into that answer. I know it was going to be a great answer. We'll give them a little bit and see if they can chime back in. I know that was the last question of the night. But family, I hope you've been enjoying what you heard today. I know we've definitely enjoyed it. And I love the transparency that our guest gives us on a daily, every Sunday when we have our guests. They're always so transparent and willing to give up their stories. And I know just giving up their stories that helps somebody else, whether it's helping somebody that's in the nation, that's not in the nation, or just happen to pass by our videos. We love when you join us. We love when you tune into the story. So I know, you know, that you've enjoyed it as much as we have, you know, enjoyed it as well. But we thank you, family. It looks like they may have dropped out, but that was the last question that we have for the night. So praise be to Allah. Technical difficulties didn't happen until the end. But again, thank you for tuning in, family. And before we close out, I want to just go into a few announcements that we have. If you enjoyed what you heard today, and I'm sure you have, you're invited to study with the Nation of Islam to learn the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by his chief helper, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You can go online to www.noi.org/go study. We have weekly webcasts every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen to the lectures from our various guests. You have the Time and What Must Be Done series that Sister Soaphis was talking about. You can definitely listen to that. It's definitely something. It's a 52-week series. So that's something you can parse and listen to every week. Final Call Radio, download it on all your devices. Take it with you on the go. Whether you're going to work, you're going to school, running some errands. It's so important that we pay attention to what's playing in the background, especially when you have the radio on. So if you want to have something positive in your ear, and I'm sure you do, family, listen to Final Call Radio. And speaking of Final Call, the Final Call newspaper, you see the cover of this week, the Revelation on the Wheel. If you have not listened to that lecture that was done last Wednesday about the 40th anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's visit to the wheel, it's definitely a must see. Like I said, you can go to www.noi.org to see that. But the Final Call newspaper, you can get it from one of our brothers on the street. You can get a Final Call subscription digitally. And also, please do not forget about our brothers and sisters that are behind bars, because as we know, they can lock their body up, but they cannot lock up their mind. And one of our last announcements, if you want a book that greatly empowers your child and showcases their self-worth, look no further than I Never Knew I'm All That, Book 1. This highly recommended book affirms our children's needs and gives them something positive to read at night instead of these fairy tale stories. So definitely get the book, I Never Knew I'm All That, on Amazon.com, written by our host, Brother Donald Muhammad, illustrations by Sister Amina Lay. And if you're in the Richmond area, you can come hear the Reality of God delivered by the student minister Tracy Muhammad in Richmond, Virginia. You can reach them or visit them at 801 Prince Hall Drive, Richmond, Virginia, 23224. And here in Baltimore, you can visit us every Sunday at 2801 Dukeland Avenue. You can hear from our local representative, our Imam and our mosque, Imam Abdul Salam Muhammad. And also next Sunday, we have a visit from our regional minister, Brother Abdul Qadir Muhammad. So you're welcome to visit us next Sunday at 11 a.m. at 2801 Dukeland Street. So with that, family, we don't have How to Eat to Live series tonight, but we'll be following up with that next week. But at this time, I'll turn it over to Brother West, and he can close us out in prayer. Brother West?
Yes, ma'am. With that, we'll close out in prayer. Send your prayer. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Assalamu alaikum, family.
This house is dedicated to knowledge and to the spreading of knowledge. Elijah Muhammad inspired new thought, new mind, new way of civilization among black people. But he wanted a house from which a light could be lifted up to give guidance to all who would be guided as this world begins to close down. This National Center for the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman, but for the totality of the human family of our planet. I named this mosque after the only woman that the Quran names a chapter after, the mother of Jesus, Maryam. All human beings need to be re-educated. That is the purpose of the National Center.